All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of the Morning Market Review. All right. Okay. I think we have a good number of persons here. Let's just quickly proceed. Okay. So the first thing we'll be looking at is forest factory to determine fundamentals we'll be having for the day. So just give me a few seconds. Let me share my screen. Forestfactory.com, and then also get my MT5 rolling. All right, please let's turn off our cam so that we don't disrupt the class. A whole lot of us have our camera on, so just please turn off your camera so that every other person can follow along and you don't distract other people. All right, so for today, high impact news and medium impact news we'll be expecting for today is okay, we already missed out on AUD, and of course we missed out on GBP, right, which came out around 1:30 a.m. and 8 a.m. But we're looking towards the Euro, the speech on the Eurozone by President Lagarde will be speaking by 9 a.m. And of course, that will be affecting the Euro pair, Euro USD, Euro CAD, Euro JPY, and the like. So you're looking at trading Euro pair. But since this is a speech, right? Since this is a speech, it's not a data news where you're going to be getting your actual and your forecast and your actual, right? So you're looking at getting the headline as to what the speaker was talking about, and then use that to determine the market move, right? So most times it's best, if you're going to be trading a speech, it's best you're following up that speech either on Fox News, Al Jazeera, CNN, or whatever news outlets that you deem fit. But practically, I use Twitter. Right, Twitter is the fastest place to get gossip, right? Especially market gossip. I use Twitter. I love you. That's is now known as X, right? Yeah. So I use X for my market gossip, right? So by 9 a.m. If you have questions, I see people raising their hand. If you have questions, this is not the session for question and answering. So just drop it on the chat section, and then someone will respond to you. Right, I won't be taking any questions. Let's just look at the markets together. Okay, so by 9 a.m. we have okay, by 2:30 p.m. We have a whole lot of news coming out on the USD. So we are expecting that today will be a very volatile day for the USD. We have core retail sales, right? We have core retail sales by 2:30. We have Empire State Manufacturing Index, which is also a great one, by 2:30. We have retail sales, and then of course the indisputable unemployment claims. Right, for unemployment claims, of course, is also one data that the US look towards to determine how strong their economy is. Right, more unemployment claims would turn off investors. Right, meaning the US has to pay more money in unemployment or to unemployed persons, which is not really a good look. Right. Then we also have the Philly Fed Manufacturing Index. All that's happening by 2:30. Then still by 3:15, we have industrial production coming up by 3:15. Then by 7:15 p.m., we have a FOMC member, Waller will be speaking. So though these are medium impact news, but if he is going to be giving a hawkish statement, that would actually give a boost to the dollar. So it depends on what nature his speech actually goes. If it is a dovish statement, meaning when I say a dovish statement, that means it's a very indecisive statement. There is no clear action points or no clear-cut direction as to what the Fed will be doing regarding maybe interest rate or matters surrounding the economy. Those are dovish statements. So, but in a scenario where they are giving facts and policies, or they are going to be rolling out new policies or implementing new policies, those are hawkish statements, and definitely those ones will move the market more, right? So by 7:40, to round up the whole fundamentals we have for the day, 7:40 p.m. we have a news on NZD, that's the New Zealand dollar, and that's also a speech, right? So that's also a speech. So it will be from the Reserve Bank, right, of New Zealand, the Reserve Bank of New Zealand, the governor of the Reserve Bank of New Zealand, or will be speaking. So by that time, his name is Or. Right, so he will be speaking by 7:40 p.m. and that sums up all the major impact and the medium impact news that we have for today, right? So, of course, since we're expecting volatility on the euro, we're expecting volatility on the USD, and then probably later on in the evening, NZD. So those are the instruments I'd actually advise, or those are the currencies that I advise you look out for today while trading, right? Those are the currencies I advise you look out for while trading. So let's quickly dive to the charts, right? And picking the first chart, we are going to be looking at dollar index. We're going to be looking at dollar index. Right, dollar index gives us an overview of what's happening on the dollar against a basket of other currency. And as expected, after the high push up of CPI on that was on Tuesday, we had this long staff candle. It's actually a very, very long one. CPI was very good. If you didn't make money from CPI, then I can assure you that you missed a lot. You missed quite a lot from CPI, right? But there's still room for you to. I tell people, if you understand the rudiment around fundamental trading, you consistently be making money on those fundamental days, right? So just understand simple economics. I mean, we all did at some point. We all did economics in school, and it's a daily aspect of our life. These things are just demand and supply, government policies, just being able to interpret what these government policies would mean on you as an individual, or mean on our daily life as an individual. And to a large extent, you can actually make money from those pieces of information, right? So we had that high push up from CPI, and then majorly the whole of yesterday we had the price range. If we look at it clearly, price range around this point here. So around this support, this quote resistance now is support. So price used to resist around here. That was around the 2nd of February. There was two rejection from the the 5th of February and the 6th of February. We had that price being resisted around there. But currently, this point is now serving as a support for price, and price ranging between that point and then the next resistance at price level 104.883. Right. So most likely what we would be expecting today is more of price ranging in between the region until the news comes out by what time is that news coming out again? By 2:30, I guess. Right. Let me confirm that time again. Sorry, it skipped me. Yes, by 2:30. So that will be coming, that news will be coming out by 2:30. So price will just be ranging around that region up until 2:30, when would now have a clear-cut direction as to where the market would push to because of the effect of the news, right? So that being said, what I'm going to be doing now is let's look at price on a smaller time frame. So you could see very, very little candles, a whole lot of you could see a couple of dojis, spinning tops, and the like. So those are a whole lot of indecision candles, little candles, and the market has been ranging from the early hours of the morning. So what I'll be looking out for is majorly a push up, and my preference on this instrument is actually going to be a buy. Why? Because of course we are expecting news on the USD, and that alone should give sentiment, right? That should give sentiment to the dollar, positive sentiment to the dollar, enabling it to rise against the basket of other currency. So before we proceed into technical analysis, let's take a quick jump at the currency strength meter. Let's look at currency strength meter. I get my own currency strength meter from Baby Pips. Hope I'm not too fast though, right? That's just how I talk. Right. So I have my currency strength meter from Baby Pips. So Baby Pips here is giving me it's telling me JPY is currently the strongest currency, and this is on a daily time frame. So looking at it on a daily time frame, it's telling me that JPY is currently the strongest currency. Can you see my screen? Okay, so it's telling me that JPY is currently the strongest currency, and then we have CHF next, then we have the euro, then AUD is actually weak. We have USD, which is weak at the moment, but of course, because we are expecting news on the USD, we expect that this weakness shouldn't stay too long. Right, this weakness shouldn't stay too long. We are just coming out of the Asian zone, so it's expected that the JPY will still be strong. JPY, CHF, and Euro, right? So we had, of course, these trades mostly we have more volatility on these two by midnight, right? Early hours of the morning, midnight to early hours of the morning. That's why. So of course, because we're just coming out of that zone, that's why you're still seeing the strength in JPY and CHF. And of course, we are still in the Euro zone, and that's why the Euro is still a bit strong. We don't have any, and of course, we have sentiment, or we have news coming out on the euro, and that's what is still keeping euro strong. For AUD, we don't have any news, so it's expected that AUD might actually drop below other currencies. Same with CAD, and then NZD might actually give a push up, right, or maybe fall down when the news comes out by 7:30. So for now, because this is the live chart and it moves in real time according to the strength of each of this currency. But to just get an overview, we know that the USD is not down there, so there's possibility to still pick up strength. So what I'm going to be doing is pairing the USD against weaker currency to give us a clear-cut direction, so that we don't stay too long in the market, and we don't take trades that will range for the whole day, right? So that being said, let's go back to our MT4. Let's go back to our MetaTrader. All right. So that being said, well, of course, like I said, we are expecting news on the USD. So, and price currently bouncing off a support point. I'm expecting that price should push back to this resistance. Like even though it's going to be trading in between these points, you could take advantage of this move. So you have price bounce from these supports to the resistance point, and then from there, so you could see this price pattern, right? You could clearly see this price pattern. You could clearly see this price pattern, price moving in between. So definitely price might actually repeat the same action. It has been ranging for a while. So I expect this move in the market. So you could go in for a buy. I wouldn't advise an instant buy. I'd want us to go in for a buy at above price level 104.638. Why? Because price has been ranging in between this point. So I want price to completely break above here. So this is on a 15 minutes time frame, right? This is on a 15 minutes time frame. This is on a 15 minutes time frame. Let me take out all these lines so that we don't have so many informations. Okay, so this is on a 15 minutes time frame. I could see price comfortably ranging around this point. So if I'm going to go for a buy, I'll go for a buy above this point. So a good point for my buy will be 104.638, and then take my profit before the next resistance. So when I say before the next resistance, it will be at this point here. So before the next resistance will be at price level 104.834. 104.834. So let's check how many people would that cost me. Okay, so this is roughly around 20 pip, and how many people am I going to pay in spread, right? So something happened during CPI, right? Something happened during CPI. So a lot of, when we got especially on gold, for those that took a gold trade, we noticed that and because of the gap, right? Because of the gap, right, on gold, right, and then also the increase in the spread because of volatility, it's actually we were supposed to make profit on those trades, especially the ones on gold, but it's ate into our spread. right? It ate into the spread. So a lot of persons were confused. Yeah, why? I placed this trade and it got to my take profit, but it ended in negative. Yes, it ended in negative because you didn't put in account the spread, right? You didn't put in account the spread. So let's take, for example, I'm supposed to place a trade and the total pip for that trade to travel for you to get to my take profit is 10 pip. And let's take, for example, I'm now to pay 11 pip in spread. Of course, that trade will end in negative because I'm still owing 1 pip to the market. So that trade will end in negative. So also ensure that when you're doing your analysis, ensure you have enough pip left after spread has been taken out. It's something you need to know as a trader, right? It's something you need to know as a trader, right? Always put that at the back of your mind. So if I'm going to be paying roughly around how many pip in spread, if I'm going to be paying roughly around 3 pip in spread, so you could see 32 points, that's 3 pip, and I have about 20 points in take profit, right? 20 pips in take profit. So I still have about 17 pip in profit for myself, which is still a fair trade. So I'd still going for this trade. And of course, because it's USD IDX, I need a good volume for that too. So if I don't want to stay the whole 17 pip, I can decide to stay 10 pip in that market and use a standard lot, right? It will be better than trying to get the whole 17 pips using 0.01, which will still not make me a good amount of money, right? On US 100, on USD IDX, maybe on a standard lot, you probably will be making maybe around 200 Naira per pip movement or thereabouts, right? And if you calculate that by 18 pip, right, that's after deducting the spread. If you calculate that by 18 pip, you still see that you won't be left with a good amount of profit. But even if I'm targeting 5% or 5 pip rather, if I'm targeting 5 pip and I'm using a standard lot, which will be making me about 20,000 Naira per pip movement times 5, right? So that's roughly around 100,000 Naira on just this trade on a standard lot. So if you have the volume, of course, use lot size proportional to your account. So if you have the volume, that would be a smarter thing to do, right? Trading is all about your analysis and also how smart you are as a trader, and you comfortably make money without staying too long in the market, right? So that's my preference for USD IDX. It's going to be a buy, right? It's going to be a buy, expecting that price will bounce off this place back to the resistance point. Of course, have your stop loss. Have your stop loss below your support, right? People always ask, how do I determine my stop loss? Always put your stop loss below your support. For any trade you're taking, put your stop loss below your support. It's as simple as ABC. You don't need to ask anybody, hey, what stop loss figure? So since I'm entering here, I'm taking my profit here. I put my stop loss below my support. A good point for my stop loss will be 104.442. 104.442, right? Once you have those three factors, your take profit, your entry point, your stop loss, you're good to go, right? So the next instrument we'll be looking at is GBP USD. GBP USD. GBP USD. So for GBP USD, because we don't have news on the GBP, of course, I'm expecting that news should go in the market should go in favor of the dollar this morning. Right? I expect that the market should go in favor of the dollar, and clearly you could see if you're looking at your chart closely, right? You can see that price has been rejected at this resistance point. This resistance used to be a support, so it's more or less a turncoat support, right? A turncoat support, a support that is now a resistance, a support that is now a resistance. You need to be very familiar with these things. A turncoat support, a support that is now a resistance. So now, and if you look closely, if I'm to zoom this chart closely, a lot of us are familiar with candlestick candlestick pattern, right? So if you look closely, you have your hammer, your inverted hammer here. And if this candle closes on this 1 hour time frame, that will be a confirmation for yourself. So your inverted hammer at a resistance point with your bearish confirmation candle is a good setup for a sell, right? Your inverted hammer with your bearish confirmation candle is a good confirmation for yourself. So on this instrument also, I'm actually going to be going in for a sell on this particular instrument, right? So of course, since we didn't pick up that sell from the beginning of the of this little pullback, we didn't pick up this sell from the beginning of that pullback, we might not be making so much from it. So, but let's calculate, is it worth our time? If it's not worth our time, then we'll just take our trade below that support. But let's see, is it worth our time? So if I thought I'm going to be going for an instant sell, right? Because that would be the best option at this point. If I thought I'm going to be going for an instant sell, down to this point, this will be about 19 pip, right? 19 pip. This is about 19 pip. And then if I'm calculating how many pip in spread, about 2 pip in spread. So I have about 17 pip left, right? So I'll go in for an instant sell on this particular instrument, right? Instant sell on this particular instrument, have my take profit before the support zone. Of course, I wouldn't want to place my take profit on the support. This is the support. So I just have my take profit before the support zone. So if you're taking your take profit before the support zone, that will still further bring down the amount of pip you'll be making in profits. So that will drop your pip to roughly around 17. Let's say I drop it by 2, that will bring it down to roughly around 15 pip, right? So 15 pip on GBP USD. On a small lot size, it wouldn't make sense, but if you have a good lot size on that trade, you'll be making a good amount of money. So an instant sell on this particular instrument, have your take profit at price level 1.25405, 1.25405, 1.25405, right? And then, of course, have your stop loss above your resistance point. It's as simple as that. Your stop loss above your resistance point to be somewhere close to 1.25782, right? You can actually adjust your stop loss, right? Anywhere above your resistance point. It shouldn't be too far. Sometimes I just advise probably you just calculate 5 pip above your resistance and you have your stop loss there. So at 1.25782. That's a good stop loss point, right? Instant sell, take profit, have your stop loss. My preference on GBP USD is a sell, right? So the next instrument I'm going to be looking at is Euro USD. So there's the tricky thing about Euro USD is that we have Euro news coming out today, right? And we have the GB and we have USD also coming out today. So in a scenario where both instrument comes out with positive outlook, right? You would have a ranging market, right? In a scenario where both instruments have a ranging out have a positive listing, you have a ranging market, and in a scenario where both of them have negative, you have a ranging. So the only way you make good money on the market is for one of the news to come out positive, or one of the news to come out positive and then the other one comes out negative. So whichever side, right? If the euro comes out positive and the dollar comes out negative, you get for that push. But the only good thing here is that euro comes out first before the dollar. So you get that volatility in favor of the euro first before we get volatility in favor of the USD. So that being said, you could see that price on this is on a 15 minutes time frame. Let's look at price on a 1 hour time frame here. So if you look closely at price on a 1 hour time frame, let's see if I'm drawing my structure. Let's see if that trade is worth taking, because you don't just jump into every trade. You need to analyze and then see if it is worth taking before you jump into that trade. So currently I see that price has gotten to my resistance point. If I thought I'm going to be taking this particular trade, the best thing to do will be to trade a breakout on this particular instrument, right? To trade a breakout. It won't be like the other two we just treated. Those ones, because you don't have news coming out on the other pair, you know that most likely what you'll be getting is a retracement, price trading technically or mostly in favor of the dollar. But since you have news coming out on both, there is possibility that price might break out in either of the direction. It can be a buy trade or a sell trade. So in such a scenario, you use a breakout. It's best to use a breakout. So if I'm going to be trading a breakout, of course, I'm going to be trading a breakout should price break above. So here we currently have a support that is now a resistance for price. You can see currently that is now serving as a resistance for price. So if I thought I'm going to be going for that trade, I want to go in for a buy if price breaks above that point, right? So and then have my take profit before the next resistance point, which is somewhere around here. So my buy stop will be somewhere around 1.07450, 1.07450, and then have my take profit at price level 1.07586, 1.07546, 1.07546. Okay, my buy entry will be at a price level 1.07450, then have my take profit at 1.07546, 546. So that's for my buy entry. So alternatively for my sell, right? Alternatively, for my sell, I want to going for a sell below my support zone. So you could see that that's a strong support. Price was supported here on the 5th of February, and another support was on the 6th of February. That's so coming to the 14th and 15th, we also have price being supported at that point. So if at all I'm going to be jumping in for a sell, it should be below that point, and then that will be at price level 1.07194, 1.07194, 1.07194. Then have my take profit at 1.07018, 1.07018. 1.07018, right? So that's my analysis for Euro USD. So most likely, because I can't tell in what favor in what direction that news might actually spin to. That's why I'm using pending orders for this, right? So if the news comes out dovish, then most likely you wouldn't get you won't get volatility in favor of the euro. The euro might just be flat. But if that news is a very, very hawkish statement, you most likely will see a push up on Euro USD, depending on when the news on the USD now comes out, and then the market goes in favor of the dollar. Also dependent on if the dollar also comes out positive, right? So that's what it is on Euro USD. So let's look at USD JPY. Let's look at USD JPY. So for USD JPY, of course, the JPY is actually going to have is actually going to be having its own turn in the market as at now, because we, like I said earlier, we just left the JPY trading zone, right? We just left the JPY trading zone early hours of the morning. So if you are there's a strategy, right? There's a strategy. If you are a night crawler, I'm not a night crawler. In short, when I sleep, I don't even know. I don't even know. I don't even know where my leg is, right? But if you're a night crawler, you could actually pay attention to the JPY chart. I can assure you, you would make good money early hours of the morning. That's just like our 2:30. For those that are familiar with the 2:30, which is now 3 p.m. The 3 p.m. market spike on the USD. We also have that around 2 a.m. Let me check. What time? What was that exact time? This is yes, around 12. We have that 12 a.m. market spike on JPY. It's actually a good one. So if you can sacrifice a little bit of sleep, right, and then look at JPY chart, JPY and CHF, you'll be able to make good money early hours of the morning before you hear the cock crow. You've already made some good money for yourself, and you'll just be smiling to work. You get me? So that's it on it. But you could see that price has actually come down here to form a base, right? Most likely you would get a base at this point in time. So the likelihood of price going below this point is very, very slim, since we've left the JPY zone and we're expecting news on the USD. So I'd be looking out for a buy on USD JPY. I'd be looking out for a buy on USD JPY. Please give me a few seconds. Let me take out all these lines. So we have. Okay, so I'll be looking out for a buy on this instrument, trying to trade this market technically. But I want to be sure that, okay, so looking at it, because that's the highest points that JPY has. Okay, so this is on a daily time frame though. This is on a daily time frame. So currently, okay, so if we look closely on a daily time frame, what I'm looking for here is, I want to be sure that where price currently is a support zone, and that's what will determine if price would bounce off that point, right? So I checked on the 4 hours, I checked on the 1 hour, I didn't see any support. I checked on the 4 hours, I didn't see any support. So I had to go up until a daily time frame, and on a daily time frame, it's actually very clear. So around the 22nd of September, that was last year, 22nd of September last year, you could see here where price was resisted, right? Around here where price was resisted, I believe you could all see that clearly. So around this point where price was resisted, let me do a little bit of zooming. Hmm. So you could so if you zoom in a little, look at around the 21st, within that time. No, that was on the 25th, because it's within 22nd of September. Yeah, so that was on the 25th. You have price being resisted around there, and you could if you trace it down to current market price, you could see that price is being supported at that point. So most likely that point will hold water since it's on a daily time frame. So that point should actually hinder price from falling below that point. Right, so that point should hinder price from going below. So I'll definitely be looking, and you could see that rejection has started playing out. So me, I would go in for an instant buy on this particular instrument, no doubt about it. I'm going for an instant buy on this particular instrument, have my stop loss below the support, like we discussed. Below the support, you could have your stop loss 10 pip, 5 pip below the support. But in this case, I'm going to be putting my stop loss at price level 149.925. 149.925. I have my stop loss there, and then you could decide to leave your take profit opened, but for the sake of giving out a take profit, look out for the next resistance. So if you check here, if you look here closely, there's a support point, which of course should now act as a resistance for price, right? There's a support point which should now act as a resistance for price. So you could have your take profit at price level 150.346, 150.346, right? So I have my stop loss, an instant buy, have my stop loss at 149.925, have my take profit at 150.346. But I advise you to leave your take profit open and watch that trade, because I still expect that price should go way above that take profit point. So the smartest thing to do would just be to leave your take profit. And if you're using your system, you could just trail your profit, use a trailing stop instead, right? You could use a 10 pip trailing stop so that you'd milk this market to the fullest, right? So of course, USD is also not a very, it's a currency pair, of course. So a good lot size, if you don't intend to stay too long in that market, it's better you use a good lot size. But if you don't have so much money and you still want to make something good in the market, just leave your take profit open. Right. If I'm doing a standard lot, I most likely will just be targeting 10 pip, right? If I'm making 10 pip on USD that will be giving me roughly around 10,000 naira per pip movement times 10. That's roughly around 100,000 naira for today. I'm chill, right? At least that's enough money to buy a martini, right? By Friday, buy a martini and then go chill out with my wife, right? So that's cool. So let's look at USD card. Let's look at USD card. So for USD card, it's okay. All right. So for yes. So for USD card, let's look at it on a 1 hour time frame. USD card on a 1 hour time frame, as expected, USD card is actually going to range, right? We saw the card had a little bit of strength from the currency strength meter, and then sentiment around the dollar is still what is not making the card go way above the dollar at this point in time. So what we'll just be expecting is a ranging market in truth until that news comes out. So for ranging market, like I said, I always say it, whenever you see a ranging market, the best thing to do is to wait for a breakout. And that's what we're going to be doing here. Best thing to do is to wait for a breakout. So you could set that trap. I call that a trapping. It's more like a trap, because if you're setting two pending orders, a buy and a sell, you're trapping price in between, expecting that if price goes above, you make money from it. If price goes below, you still make money from it. So that's what we'll still be doing for USD card. It's currency. So if it was index, you could trade in between, but I wouldn't advise you risk that so that you don't get stuck in the market, right? I wouldn't advise you risk that so you don't get stuck in the market. USD card is not a very profitable instrument for you to get stuck in the market. Wait, right? So let's do a breakout. So if at all I'm going to be going in for a trade, I'm going for a sell below price level. Once price falls below price level 1.35245, I'm going for a sell at that point, right? I'm going for a sell at that point and then take my profit at price level. Okay, please give me a few seconds. Let me take out all this line from previous analysis so that I don't end up confusing people. All right, so I'll take out all of this. Okay, perfect. So I take my profit at price level 1.34959. 1.34959. 1.34959. I have my take profit around that point. And then for buy, okay, so I'd go in for my entry at price level 1.35245, 1.35245. Then take my profit at price level 1.34959, 1.34959. Of course, you don't need to wait for price to get to your take profit, right? Once you have a good amount of profit, you close your trade, right? You close your trade, but that's for a sell. But my preference on USD card is actually going to be a buy, right? So, but like I said, that's highly dependent on the news. That is highly dependent on the news. And for now, we can't tell if the news is going to come out positive or not, right? So, but what we just do is to have our pending order ready, right? It's just for us to have our pending order ready. So, if I'm going to go in for a buy, I'm going to go in for a buy at price level 1.35926, 1.35926. 1.35926, then have my take profit. So I'm looking for the next high point, and I notice that price has, okay, this is the highest point price has been to in a while. So I had to go to a daily time frame to get my next high point. So if I'm bringing this down a little, okay, yes, so perfect. So I'll have my take profit at I'd have my take profit at price level 1.36289. 1.36289. 1.36289. 1.36289. So that's my this thing for USD So of course, we expect that the dollar should actually gain a lot of strength today based on the news coming out. But if it comes out negative, then most likely we won't see that news. So it's best for us to be safe. See how I left a whole lot of space, right? To ensure that even if price is going to pick my entry, it should be as a result of the fact that traders have made up their mind and they've gone for a particular position, right? So you won't get stuck in the markets. There wouldn't be a thing of price triggering one of your entry and then going the opposite direction. So that's the whole idea of ensuring that you have your entries above the support and below the support, above the resistance rather, and below your support zone, just for you to be in the clear, right? So we've looked at how many currencies: one, two, three, 4, and 5. Right. So let's look at gold. We'll look at oil then before jumping into index and call it a day. So for oil, oh, all right. So okay, so let's go for oil. For oil on a let's look at oil on a 1 hour time frame. Oil, like I tell people a lot, oil is actually a very political instrument. It's an instrument solely based on demand and supply, right? And a little story on oil. Because of the whole, of course, we know that the war between Russia and Ukraine has had a major impact on oil, right? It had a major impact on oil, and we also have the likes of Saudi Arabia, and we have the likes of Russia, who are some of the major players in the oil market, and they've been putting policies in place to ensure that oil prices keep going up, right? So they go from cutting the production rates, they cut the number of barrel produced daily, and they also they also go as far, and of course, looking at the war between Russia and Ukraine, that has also stopped to a large extent deter some of the how will I put it, circulations, right? So because of the war, the routes which most of these produce are being transported are being blocked, right? Like, and Russian oil on its own has an embargo on it, right? There's been sanction on Russian oil. They can't really produce send oil to the European zone, right? And currently, I think their major buyers now is just China for now. And then what China does is buy from Russia and then sell to the rest of the world, because there's no sanction, or there's no this thing on Russia at the moment, on China rather at the moment. So China buys from Russia and then sell to the rest of the world. Of course, that will still push prices of oil down. So the only time you get price of oil, because most times when you look at commodities tend to increase over time. Prices of commodities tend to increase over time. The only time you get a major drop in these prices are when there are bad events. Maybe there is a bomb attack on one of the refineries, or maybe there is oversupply, right? When there's oversupply and the demand for that particular instrument is low, you get price fall. So, and if you're looking at that, relating it to the likes of China, right? The Chinese economy has not really fully opened up since the COVID-19, and China being the second largest consumer of oil, right? China being the second largest consumer of oil, since their economy hasn't fully opened up, their demand for oil is not as strong as it used to be, as at a year back or 2 years, as at a few years back before the coronavirus, right? So that also, to a large extent, drops the price of oil. So what OPEC does to counter that is, whenever the demand is not matching up to the supply, they cut supply. Whenever demand is not matching up to the supply, they cut supply, and that's how the oil market has been playing so far. So technically, I'm going to be looking at oil. What I'm going to be going for is if you look currently at oil, oil is bouncing off a support zone. This is on a 1 hour time frame. You could clearly see oil bouncing off a support zone. You have, if you look closely, you have more of a bullish, would I call this a bullish engulfing? But the pattern here is the reversal pattern for oil. And you could see that there was a gap down on oil as at yesterday. Right, there was this gap down on oil as at yesterday, which oil has most likely covered up, but I still expect that prices of oil should still climb technically this morning. So what I'll do is I'd go in for a buy. Should price break above here, my preference is going to be a buy, but I'd go in for a buy if price breaks above here. Have my buy at price level 80. Okay, that's too close. Let's push this up a little bit. I have my buy at price level 81.54. 81.54. I have my buy at 81.54, and then take my profit at price level 81.78, right? 81.78. I buy at 81.54, have my take profit at 81.78, right? Alternatively for my sell, I'm going for a sell below the support zone. I'm going for my sell below the support zone at price level 80.49, 80.94, 80.94, 80.94, then take my profit at 80.71, take my profit at 80.79, 71, 80.71. So I'll take my profit at around that point. Right, so that's it for oil. So let's look at gold. Gold will majorly just range today, right? It will majorly just range today up until when the dollar, the news comes out on the dollar today. To just majorly range for today. The whole of yesterday, we had a ranging market on gold. We had a ranging market on gold. So best you trade a breakout also, right? So I'll be pushing my entries up until So I'd going for gold would actually give a clear-cut direction, but it will be dependent on how the news comes out. It will be dependent on how the news comes out. So if the news comes out positive, of course, you should get gold pushed down. And if the news comes out negative, you have gold push up. So I'll put my buy stop at price level 1999. That's 1999.82. I have my buy stop somewhere around there, and then have my take profit somewhere around 0 0 20 rather 20, that's 2009.07, 2009.07. So I have my take profit around there, 2009.07. So unlike a currency pair, gold is actually a very profitable instrument, right? So if you have good lot size, you don't necessarily need to wait until price hits my take profit. So if you're looking at this is roughly around for my buy, this is roughly around 91 pip, and then this is for my sell, this is roughly around 50, this is roughly around 60 pip for my sell. right? So that's still a good amount of profit for you to make on this particular instrument. So if you are using a very good lot size, you could just target of all the 50 or either the 90 pip, you could target just 10 or 20 pips from that, and you're still out in profit. So if I'm using a standard lot, for example, and I'm going to be making for gold, a standard lot should be making me roughly around 40, 50K per pip movement or the other. So if I'm going to use a standard lot and I calculate that by 20 pips, right? So that will still make me a good amount of money. Even if I'm using 0.1, if I'm using 0.1, that will be making me roughly around 0.1 will be making me roughly around, I think 200 naira per pip movement or thereabout. Or 0.01 rather. 0.01 will be making me roughly around 200 naira per pip movement. 200 naira per pip movement. So times 50 pip, right? If you calculate that by 50 pip, though it's not so much, but for those that have, let's say, 50,000 naira in their trading account and they still want to take advantage of this instrument, that will still be a good one. But if I'm using 0.1, that will be making me 2,000 naira per pip movement, right? So if you calculate that by, so if I'm using 0.1 and I have, let's say, 100K or 200K in my trading account, and I calculate that by 2,000 naira per pip movement, that will still give me a good amount of money. So it depends on your capital, right? Always take trades proportional to your capital. So that's it for gold. So yeah, okay. So for the sell entry, I'll be going in for a sell at price level 1982.02, 1982.02. Have my take profit at 1976.08, 1976.08, 1976.08. So let's look at US 100. Let's look at US 100. So stocks has actually been doing well for the whole of yesterday. Even after that CPI news, we had this major push down from the CPI, and then stocks almost regained the whole of the losses almost immediately. And that was not as a result of the CPI. So it's because some of the stocks, because aside the dollar, you have some other factors influencing stocks. Stocks like US 100 is an index of 100 top performing companies in the US, right? 100 top performing companies in the US, and a lot of them had their report earning, right? We had report earning on them day before yesterday, and some gave their report earning yesterday, and it was positive, right? It was positive. So I've forgotten. I had the list of those companies at the top of my head, but forgotten. So a couple of them came out with a positive earning report, and that actually gave a boost in their stock. That actually gave a boost in their stock, and that's why stocks has actually been pushing up. That's why stock, and majorly that would still continue to push stocks up until when the dollar, if the dollar comes out negative, if the dollar comes out positive, then that's most likely when you might now get a push down on stock. But if that doesn't happen, stocks might still continue to rise, especially for US 100, which is a tech stock. Which is a tech stock, you might continue to see that push up. So currently, if you're going to be taking advantage of US 100 this morning, I'd advise you just jump in for a buy at this point in time. You could jump in for a buy at this point, right? You could jump in for a buy up until jumping for a buy up until price level 17952.35. So you could do a current buy or an instant buy, take your profit at 17952.32, 17952.32, right? So of course have your stop loss. You have your stop loss at price level. Have your stop loss at price level 1785, 17852.25, right? 17852.25. So we didn't start that trade from the beginning. If we had taken that trade earlier, it would have given us quite a good amount of profit, right? So, but you could still take advantage of the little buy up until that resistance point. It's a late entry, right? But if you're not comfortable, you could just scrap that trade. But that's what I would do on this particular instrument. Aside that, I don't see the next move on US 100 will be determinant on when the news comes out by 2:30. So you could do a quick buy up until when that news comes out, or just completely stay out of the stock market. That's your choice. So let's look at US 2000. Let's look at US 2000. US 2000, unlike US 100, is not a stock only. Is not only a tech only stock, right? You still have some other. You have the what they call it. You have the service producing companies. You have the health companies that and the likes. Right? You have research institutes all listed under US 2000. So it might have a slightly different and a slower move compared to US 100, right? So looking at it, it has actually broken above my resistance point. There's a resistance point around here. So there's a resistance point around there. So what I'm just going to wait for at this point in time is for price to completely close above this resistance. So if price closes completely above this my resistance point, I should expect that price should continue to push up, right? I expect that price will continue to push up. So in this point, what I'll do is I'm going for a buy above. Yeah, so since this is my resistance, I'm going for a buy above that resistance point. I just give it a few pip above that resistance point. I'm going for a buy at price level 2031.3, 2031.3, 2031.3. Then have my take profits at price level 2041.8, 2041.8. Right, so that's still a lot of pip for price. That's still a lot of time for US 2000 to actually give a further buy, depending on when the news comes out on the US dollar. Right, so going for a sell. Alternatively, for my sell, I want to pick my sell from the support zone after the support at price level 2013.5. Have my sell at 2013.5. Let's quickly round this up. So 2013.5 and have my take profit at 2003.2. 2003.2. 2003.2. So the last instrument. So my buy is going to be at 2031.3. Take my profit at 2041.8. Then alternatively for my sell, I'll be going at 2013.5 and then 2003.2 as my take profit. All right. So the last instrument we'll be looking at is D30. So D30. For D30, D30, every morning what I like doing on D30 is taking a limit order. Why? Because D30 usually bounce off a lot. It bounces a lot. So you have this price come here, bounces, gets to this point and bounces. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have my sell limit. I'm going to be using a sell limit. It's a pending order sell limit on D30. Have my sell limit before the resistance at price level 1709 17090.0, 17090.0. I'll have my sell limit around that point and have my stop loss above my resistance point. Have my stop loss above my resistance point at price level 17114.0, 17114.0. And then my take profit will be before the next support. So before the next support, looking at it here, this is the next support. So my stop loss, my take profit rather will be at 17060.4, 17060.4 for my stop loss. So my entry would be it is going to be a sell limit at price level 17090.0, 17090.0. Put my stop loss. Yes, 17090.0. Have my stop loss at 17114.0. Then put my take profit at 17060.4. 17060.4. So that's for my take profit. But for this D30, I'd also advise you leave your take profit. You could leave your take profit open, because by the time price gets rejected at that point, there's every possibility that price might actually extend below that point, right? And bear in mind that we have news coming out on the Eurozone. Yeah. So I bear in mind that we have news coming out on the Eurozone. So most likely, if it comes out positive for the Euro, the D30 might actually sell a lot further than that. Right, a lot further than that. And if it doesn't trigger your sell entry, you could also just do an instant sell from that point. If it doesn't trigger your sell entry after the close of this candle, you could just do an instant sell and put the same take profit and stop loss parameter, or leave your take profit open and use your trailing stop. Right. So that brings us to the end of this class. It was nice hosting you guys. So please ensure to attend most of the trainings, because it's at the training we discuss how to come about most of these strategies, how to fully the best way to use them, and give you full mastery of most of this strategy. Right. So do have a wonderful day. Till meet again on the next edition.